How's it going, Tommie Kelly?
There's always this extra pressure to just like 5 minutes before the podcast go, oh, well, how am I opening this? What do I say? I need to say something funny, something smart, or at least have some sort of different opening than the previous week.
I should it's Paddy's week. It's Paddy's week. Top of the morning to you.
Yeah. Where's me Lucky Charms?
Where's me Lucky Charms? I was watching, there's a thing on Netflix. I presume it's is on Irish Netflix. Well, it's called Somebody Feed Phil, and it's fairly new. And it's this guy, a Jewish American guy, who travels the world and eats lots of food. And he has one in Ireland, and he's good. He's a kind of a funny character, because the first episode you watch, you're like,
is it like an Anthony Bourdain type thing? Is it like he goes
yeah. It's okay. Like that, but like less drinking and swearing, you know. Well, there's a bit of drinking, but he's not able to drink. He drinks like two glasses of wine, and he's off his head like this.
Right.
You know?
Right. Okay.
But the first episode you watch, you're like, I don't like this guy, and then the second episode, you're like, I want this guy to be my cousin. You know, he's just one of those people who, like, at first you're like, and then the second one you're like, he's deadly, and he has all these weird grimaces when he likes food and stuff like that. But he does one in Ireland, and it just wrecked my. There's this beautiful shot of him. I think it's is it Greystones or Bray or something. He's out on the coast on the rocks and the Atlantic, or not the Atlantic Sea, the Irish Sea. The Irish Sea is splashing in against him, and he's standing beside this lighthouse, and this beautiful drone shot, and it comes into him, and he goes, "Top of the morning to you," and I'm like, "Fuck Christ. That guy!" God. Damn it, I hate them when they do that.
He wasn't saying it ironically or anything, or pissed.
No, he says, top of the morning, do I sound Irish? And I say, don't do that, man. Do you know? Why, like? Do you know?
There's in the Patrick Harper book, The Good People, which is one of his fiction books. It goes very Irish in places.
Irish,
it's very hard to take. And he does, when he's in some of his lectures, when he does like the Irish accent, it's like, Christ. But there's a part of me that's kind of going, well, as much as I don't like that, I have heard Irish people talking like that. You know, it's not unheard of. And so
your man's jaw nearly hit the floor when he was in some restaurant in Dublin. They were eating boxty. You know boxty, yeah? Potato pancakes. Yeah. And
on Slimming World, people love boxty. It's sin free. You can eat it. So
it's made, but it's done in oil. You can't eat that, can you?
It's no. Well, I mean, you can fry it with
bake it. I suppose you could.
You see, the spray oils, they're sin free as well. You see.
All right, I see. Yeah.
So you just open one of them, pour it into your chip pan, and deep fry everything. It's fine.
It's fine. There's no calories.
No calories.
Yeah, his jaw nearly hits the floor. He's like, "Oh, we're going to have bacon and cabbage," and the chef is like, "No, that's an American thing." He's like, "That's not Irish." No, that's not Irish. Like that's a Jewish and Irish American thing. It's not, like no one in Ireland eats corned beef and cabbage on Paddy's Day. Sure. So.
Or many other days.
Yeah, any other days. Exactly. Yeah. Bacon and cabbage is. No, sorry, not bacon and cabbage. What am I saying? What was I saying?
Yeah, bacon and cabbage is what you said.
No, sorry, I meant the corned beef. The corned beef on Paddy's Day. No one eats corned beef. Fucking beef. The Irish Americans eat on Paddy's Day. Corned beef and spuds. I think.
I remember when kids just talking about the bacon and cabbage, we would have had it and stuff years ago. Is that still a thing people eat? Is it?
Oh yeah, bacon. Yeah, every time I go home, my mum make it for me.
Oh, is it? Yeah, see, because I haven't eaten meat in 30 years, so I don't know.
Jesus, really, 30 years?
That's probably more. It's like, hold on, what age am I? Jesus, it's more. I'm 43, and hold on. You do maths. I'm 43, and I stopped when I was 15. No, I'm saying you're good at. You do the maths. So I don't know, 50, 70 years, something like that. Whatever it is.
Jesus, if I go more than 3 days without meat, I feel like, oh, look at me, I'm a vegetarian.
Yeah, so it's 28 years. That's about right.
The fuck? That's an awful long time.
Oh well, that's not true. I've mistakenly had it once or twice over the thing.
Yeah. We all. Yeah. That's allowed, you know. Yeah. So, you're doing your sale, aren't you? Paddy's Day sale. Yeah. Get your plug in early, man. Get your plug in early. Go on. Buy everyone buy the 40 sale.
Yeah, it's 20% off. It's it's Servants Patrick Servants. It's on the website anyway. Just a code you use at the actual when you're buying it, you stick it in. And you get 20% off both the decks and the digital decks half price. That's it. I can't do my all the cards at the minute because my printer has decided it doesn't want to print yellow.
Oh, lovely.
That's great, isn't it? So I have all the cleaning stuff, but it's just like, where am I going to get an hour and a half to clean this? Like, when do I get that time? I was really tempted to go, well, I just buy a new printer. Because I'm not buying a new printer just because I don't have an hour and a half.
I don't know. Was Patrick the inspiration for which card is it that looks like Patrick? I don't remember.
Oh no, the servant. Yeah, people said that to me before. No, well, it's St. Cyprian, but I mean they all look kind of similar if you have that kind of
big hats and what are the sticks called?
It's Crocs, CROIC or something like that, isn't it? I don't know. My brain just doesn't remember any word anymore. A crocheted spear. That's what it is.
A crow, yeah, it is a crochet. Is it a crochet? I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think a bishop has the crochet, yeah, and the funny hats, yeah. Oh, fair enough. St. Cyprian they do all look. They're all white guys with beards, like.
Yeah, I suppose I could be very cynical and make a St. Patrick's version of the servants, but I mean, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want to live with myself if I did things like that. Imagine I did stuff like that. And for Mother's Day, I did a special on the mother and father. I could be making loads of money that I'm just...
Yeah, you suppose, Tommie, that's the thing. And it's just...
it's like, Calvin and Hobbes. His big rule was no merchandise. Nothing. No, he says that's just, the last thing he wants. He doesn't want to be that type of guy. Then you have people like, Kevin Eastman and what's the other guy who created the Turtles? And they went, put them on everything. Toothpaste.
George Lucas. Wasn't that how George Lucas made his money? Wasn't 10% of the merchandise or 5 or whatever the hell it was, Yeah.
Well, sure, that's how Metallica make the money now. It's on T-shirts. It's no one's buying albums anymore.
Yeah.
So it's T-shirts. There was some documentary with Metallica where they made I can't remember the figures. Something ridiculous. 120 grand in T-shirts on the day of one gig.
1 gig?
Yeah, something like ridiculous.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you're saying it should be in a band?
Yeah, I'm saying it should be a T-shirt sale, but all webcomics are funded by T-shirts. Like, you know what I mean? That's the model. Is you do a webcomic and then you sell your T-shirts, and so you essentially become a T-shirt salesman.
Jesus, really? That's depressing. That's awful.
It was 8 years ago or 10 years ago when I was making comics. Do you know that? Because you put up the Stone Roses song on Discord today, and I was just going, that's my favourite Stone Roses song. I'm not a big fan of Stone Roses song, but I love that song. And so I put in, Fear, Ian Brown's amazing song. Yeah, 20 years old, man. It's 20 years old. Jesus fucking Christ! What? Like
I think there's been
there's a 10 years missing.
I think there's been one of those weird. Updated cool covers of it.
All right.
That was bad. Because this happens every now and again. Like you get like a big kind of song that's influential like that, and then 10 or 15 years later, then some chick comes along who's really pretty and does like a whispered version of it.
Yeah.
And there's some nice guitar behind it, and everyone
acoustic
blames themselves.
Yeah.
And
it's half the speed, and you got the feel.
Yeah. I'm fairly sure there is a version of it, or else I dreamed it.
And you should be doing this version of it.
Yeah, and I should be doing it. Yeah. Because God no. I mean, I was able to sing, but I'm not able to sing anymore because it's been so long since I practiced singing. Because this thing, everyone can sing. You just need to practice. That's all it is.
I know people who can't sing.
I don't know. No, but it is just.
But there is tone deafness that you can't hear the difference between.
Well,
notes.
I suppose. That makes sense. I think I remember teaching this girl years ago. She was I don't remember what title she had. She was some opera singer anyway. I don't remember which, because there's sopranos, altos, da 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 da.
And the most famous one, the fat lady, which is
she wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
But
that's how you know it's over.
We sat down, and during the first session, she's like, "Oh yeah, you would fit into this thing." I was like, "Huh?" And she said, "You can sing." I was like, "Oh yeah, I used to sing." She said, "Yeah."
I suspect she'd be alto, because that's usually the.
I don't know. I don't remember what it was. It's a good few years ago. It was deadly.
I'm sorry, I meant alco. Alco.
I used to teach her in the Silesia School of Music, which is a fucking cool building. It's like I'm trying to think of an example that isn't Hogwarts, but it did look like Hogwarts because I fucking hate Harry Potter. But it was cool.
Right.
It had this like old museum underneath it, and it had like really old, you know, those things before the piano. What was before the piano?
Hopscotch.
Yeah. Tons of them. Tons of these houses, and like there's even some like she was showing me some. Was like if you lift up that one, there's a mummified bat in it. There's a mummified something else in this. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's fucking... Like, you keep them and like, I don't know why.
There's a penis and brine in that one.
Yeah. Oh, Tommie, I'm in such better form now after talking to you for 10 minutes. Thanks for cheering me up.
No worries. It was me who put you depressed in the first place. So
it wasn't you made me depressed.
Making you watch the documentary we're talking about. But we'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to it.
I have been...
watch it first, though.
Well, it doesn't matter if they can stop it later.
We might have to start telling people like a couple of days before like what we're going to watch, so they can be.
Yeah, but that involves us having to plan things other than you text me late Saturday night and go, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing on Monday or Tuesday?
Saturday night, 10 o'clock. What do I watch, Tommie? Take your pig Spud. And no, I have to decide. Woe is me. You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did watch The Secret though, so we could briefly, because The Secret is like the huge element of New Age now, and it kind of took over the world. This whole law of attraction. You hadn't seen it up until you said you seen it last week, was it?
Yeah, I watched it last week because it came up on my Netflix, and I'm like, well, this must be it.
Yeah.
And after 30 seconds into it, I was like, this big steaming pile of shit can't be it.
Yeah, it is.
It turns out that is what it is, and it's awful.
Yeah, I was going to say, in fairness, it's 15 years old.
The film is awful.
Yeah, no, it is. But like every spiritual documentary for the last 15 years has tried to be The Secret. Like it looks like it. It has the same talky head thing. It has that. I don't know. You know what? That kind of story of someone walking around wondering about their life thing. You know that goes on in every documentary now. But there's Abraham Hicks were in it originally. It was kind of going to be about them, which is, you know, that's the channeled weird voice. So I'm from the future, I know things. But it was taken out because it was too weird. But you can see it on YouTube. Well, not that it was too weird, but it was like they said, oh no, people are just going to laugh at this, you know. Kind of thing.
I mean, look at the idea of it's kind of cool. It's Neville Goddard. It's Joseph Murphy.
Yeah, it's new thought. Yeah. It's a very American kind of approach to mentalism, I suppose.
Yeah. And it's, you know, saying to yourself, right, I actually am the center of the universe because I am consciousness, experiencing reality, so I can have what I want, but I need to train myself to...
Yeah, it's very good. It's the Kabbalion all over. The problem with it came out in 2006, and then there was the economic crash in 2008. And I'm not saying there's a correlation, but there definitely is. If you tell everyone in the world they can have whatever they want, and then everyone gets massively in debt, and then the economy crashes, I think we should be rapping at Rhonda Byrne's door, going, "Hey, come on."
Tommie, do a little banishing ritual and put a circle of salt there.
No, if I do a banishing ritual, the computer will probably jump out the window and smash.
How are we going to?
So this is like the 800th time that we've tried to record this. My brain hurts. My life hurts. I hate everyone. Whose idea was it ever to do a podcast? Quickly go through it. Zoom threw us out. We went over to Skype. Skype hated Spud in all shapes and forms and hated his microphone in particular. We did that for about 10 minutes. Then we decided we'd go back to Zoom again. And then your router decided it hated you.
I got a message saying connected but no internet. I'm like, that's impossible. It's not impossible. But like, how are all these things happening?
So we were in the middle of blaming Abraxas for all this because of his Epoch study group. But I tend to think that maybe we shouldn't. Maybe have some sort of warning about. Well, what actually happened was I was in the very first thing is I was giving out about Rhonda Byrne and The Secret and saying it was her fault for the the collapse in 2008. So maybe she has some sort of mad protection around her. The Law of Attraction and The Secret's the best documentary I've ever seen, and Rhonda Byrne herself is a very attractive woman and is the pinnacle of women. Just perfect in every way. Yeah, so Stephanie Cronzon is fucking with us. Oh man, it would seem
to be so, huh?
that type of stuff, it just makes it so hard to, I don't know, get anyway enthusiastic about, you know, when technology gets in your way. And it's such a thing that happens. Like, I made a video about it last year where, or whatever, I don't know, sometime during the first lockdown, was just going that once you start trying to do something creative or personally meaningful, be prepared for everything to break around you. Like, and it's like,
it's the opposite of Joe. It was the opposite of Joe Campbell's "Follow Your Bliss."
It is. It's like as soon as you try to do something that you want, you find a spiteful universe. But I suppose in general, out of whatever the 612 podcasts that we've done together at this stage, that we've only really had connection problems once or twice. So if you were going to do the gratitude thing and, you know, and say, oh, you know, but when you're in the middle of it, it's hard not to be very
It's just strange timing because the whole with this Corazon thing going on as well, which like I've started to do this thing where I'm going to sleep at night, and when I catch myself going to sleep, I try and do a kind of vision or something, you know. And I shouldn't have started doing it when Corazon's name was popping up, because like I saw shit last night I don't want to see again, like, you know?
Right. Yeah, you look like you PTSD.
You fucking arsehole, so he is.
And you got a parking ticket, yes, you were saying, your first ever.
I got my first ever parking. But see, the parking ticket was
every time you pause, I go, is he gone? What's going on?
Is he gone? No, come here. No, because I shared stuff with you and a couple other people, but I don't want to talk about it too much. It's that enlightenment thing that I've had there recently.
Yeah.
And so yesterday happened. I came out of the shop and I seen a guy taking photographs of a car. Right, and I thought, look, there's an idiot just like myself. He doesn't know his own registration plate, which I don't. Like,
yeah, neither
you have these they have these parking things in Poland where you need to put in your plate number. I don't got a fucking clue with it, so I always have a photograph of my plate somewhere in my phone.
Idea. Yeah.
And then when I can't find it, I just take a new one. So I saw this one and I went, he's an idiot like me, doesn't remember his plate. And then he took out his pen, he wrote something down, and he put underneath the wiper, and I went, bollocks. So it was a parking ticket.
Nice.
And so I took a photo of it, sent to Agus. I go, what's this like? Because I had the cash on me. I wanted to pay him then and there, you know?
Yeah.
And I just got back into the car and I started fuming, you know, just going mad, you know?
Yeah.
But like very quickly into it, like 5 seconds into it, I went, no, you're not doing this to yourself.
Yeah.
Stop. So like, and it's something I'm trying to do a lot more is to like when something comes up that gets a bad reaction or an overreaction, just I try my best to see the problem for what it actually is, you know what I mean? And it's just it's the reaction is the problem. But it's a parking ticket. We've all got parking tickets.
Yeah,
I'm just annoyed because...
Well, I've never had one. Like, touch all the wood ever.
And it's my own fault as well because like I was only there like 2 weeks ago and it's always been free parking. But they've obviously changed it. And I just didn't see any of the signs because I don't be paying attention to stuff that's written in Polish. I just don't. Arrows, humps. Yeah. I know all those ones. They're fine. But if it's written, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. But you see, the problem with these things is that it's not the parking ticket. It's the 700 things that have happened that led up to the parking ticket. And it all becomes cumulative. You know, it's like it's like the straw that breaks the camel back. That it's like, and very hard to put yourself in the situation of it being just the problem, you know, because we're pattern making machines. We see patterns. This is a trend. This, you know, and then there's also it's like particularly it's very obvious with children because you know you kind of you've been crying all day because but this is a particular problem they have, you know, but you can't. You know, it's that thing. I find that very hard, but it's not in general, not just with kids. To see it as an individual thing, but I mean it's obviously the answer. Like that's it, you know.
Oh yeah, but you should see them all as individual things.
Yeah,
that is the best way.
But then when you have do a podcast and a number of individual things happen in a row, it's very hard not to kind of to see a pattern or a trend or something to it.
I don't know. Like I'm reluctant to put it down to him, it, thing, because like. Okay, like I'm willing to go fairly far with the woo-woo. Yeah. That's fairly obvious by now.
Obvious, yeah.
But at the same time, you're just like, Yeah, I don't like the look of him. I don't want to. Like there was the Epoch study group. There was a thing about Lucifer, and I was like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I don't want him in my life.
Yeah, but the thing about Lucifer in the sense of is that it's not Satan. Like we've talked about that before. It's the light bringer, the illuminator,
I know,
the tricks, and blah blah all that. But at the same time, you're going, yeah, well, like maybe I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want. No,
I don't want to learn. I don't want to be illuminated. Keep that apple away from me. Thanks very much. I'll have my ignorance, please. Ignorance is bliss.
But what is Choronzon's actual mythology like? What is?
Well, it's about time, isn't it? Like it's a relationship to time. It's more in like. Well, maybe I'm not wrong because I have the correlation between Kronos, isn't it, which is Saturn, and at his time. So maybe wrong, but I thought in books I've read that it's mentioned that there's some sort of that when he appears, there's like a time speeds up, stops, or disappears, or some sort of thing. But I suppose technically he's the dweller on the threshold of the abyss, like that. He's the guy. He's the boss of that level to get past the abyss on to the next thing.
Well, then that just means that everyone just needs time to cross the abyss, and he's the one who says yay or nay to the time passing for you to cross it.
Or it's just outside of time or something. I don't know exactly, but it's never pleasant, and. Most people turn away. That's the thing. And it's more than, I suppose, in a sense of seeing your shadow, because there seems to be an element of it's seeing the entirety of things and to be able to face that rather than just your own kind of individual thing. I know Stuart Wilde talks about it. He talks about it in the sense of a 1,000-day journey. And when you get to a wall, you get to this wall. So it's the same type of thing, this kind of block, the abyss, the whole thing. And he says everyone turns away from it, first of all. Everyone. And then you have, you come back, and it depends how far back you walk. And you have to walk back towards the wall. But eventually you have to do it. And the whole idea is you have to do it alone, of course, because your HGA fucks off. Goes, you're on your own, mate. Enjoy that. And finds the bridge and meets you on the other side when you get there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just I don't know. Like it definitely. I think it's the dweller on the threshold is called in Theosophy or many other things.
I prefer the Buddhist kind of take on it, where it's the long dark night of the soul, and it's not personified by this former Greek god who is a bad apple.
Dark Night of the Soul is a Christian thing, though, isn't it? St. John of the Cross. That's where it originally comes from. But I mean, I know the actual name, not the obviously the experience is more universal than that. But I don't know. I mean,
but sure, look, I mean, in Ingram's book, and like you have to take him on his word because he knows his shit. Obviously, he's like for some people crossing this. Like long dark night of the soul is crossing the abyss, whichever term you prefer to use. Like for some people it's hell, and they go through years of this.
20 minutes.
For other people it's done in a day. It's grand. So I don't know. I think I got away lightly with it.
What's the thing from your reading of it? Is it something that has to be done if reincarnation is a thing? Let's have a presupposition in it. Is it something that has to happen in every life? Or is it something that has to happen in singularly as part of? I
don't know.
Yeah, I've never come across an answer to that. In my reading, anyway.
The answers I've seen is that once you've done it, that's it, and then you won't come back to the earthly realm.
Yeah, but then you also hear of people like who say the reincarnations of people who've claimed that they have, in the previous lives already, been in touch with different things. Like, so it kind of seems that there is a kind of an element.
No, I know there's, what do they call it? Is a stream entry, they call it. Stream entry is when you get your first
it's
awakening or something.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of what Gordon White from Chaos Magic would call becoming invincible. It's the bit where you can't go back, that the world has, that thing, has become so, it's shown its hand in some way that you can't unsee.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I like being alive and all, but I don't know. After watching that documentary there yesterday and the Adam Curtis documentary from a few weeks ago, I'm not sure I want to come back anymore.
No, I 100% never. I don't want to come back to this place ever again. Ever. No, thank you. Remember George Harrison's documentary goes on about that. He goes, no, one life, getting it done, doing the work, never coming back to this fucking place. But so then
I'd like to come back just to see more of it, you know. But like, I still have plenty more years ahead of me that I can go see it. It's just I don't really particularly.
If we survive today, if Coranton leaves us alone, yeah.
It's mad, isn't it? It's bizarre. Yeah, today's been strange with that. Actually, the last 2 or 3 days have been, and it's been strange for me, you, and the other 2 people doing the Epoch study group. And it's, you know, you can put it down to, okay, you're having a bad day, and you're putting it down to this. Okay, that's your choice to put it down to that, and you're explaining it. But like when 4 people connected to something where we're all studying the same thing, we all have a shitty time.
Yeah. And a particular shitty time, like kind of things that you can point to. That I had a terrible day yesterday. I don't really want to go into it, so I'm not going to. But like proper fucking gut punch. Oh, and like the thing about it is like you can explain and go, right, let's explain it in your example. Go, oh, it's a parking ticket, and you go, yeah, but it's not a parking ticket. Like there's something. In my case, like if I explain about it, what happened, it's so insignificant. It's not a thing, but it's the impact and the kind of thing that happened around it that, you know, it's just hard to explain. That it just seemed more, it's not poignant is the right word.
No, I get you.
In a way, like,
no, it's because the reaction is, if it happened on a good day, the reaction to that would have been totally fine.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
or even on a bad day, you might have just went, fuck it, you know, that's another thing. But just, all right, get on with it, you know.
Yeah, but because this other thing is also in your head, and you're like, okay, well, normally I wouldn't react like this.
Yeah.
Am I reacting like this because of that?
Well, here's the thing, because Abraxas sent me a message, and he says, after I put up my thing, and he says, you want to talk about it? I'm just kind of mentioning a bit, and he goes, well, here's the thing you have to think about. Is Coranzon the thing that happened, or is Coranzon the reaction? And I was going, oh, well, that's interesting. I goes, and my answer was, well, it could be both too, like, you know. Yeah. But like, just interesting you saying that the reaction then thing is the significant thing is the reaction, not the actual event. So that would kind of lead you to think that it's you're meant to, if you're thinking of it as a learning experience and he's trying to show you something, let's give him, rather than just being a spiteful prick. It felt like it really exacerbated my reaction and added to it and made it very pointed, and like, you can't get away from this. You know, there's no, and you have to look at this, because it was also like the thing that happened and is part of a larger kind of shadow working thing I'm trying to work on. So it just kind of really, I suppose it really hit home, really kind of pointed at something. I didn't get the answer because I don't know what the answer is.
No, but you know what? Like I kind of think that the shadow stuff that people talk about and the shadow work and all that, I think it's kind of, how to say it, I think people spend too long and delve too much into it. I think it's enough to just to see it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and there is like, kind of the extra element of it is that if you're constantly trying to look for something that's wrong with you, you're going to find it, or you're going to have that. You're going to have that thing of where you're constantly going to have the sensation that there's something wrong with you, that there's something you need to fix, which is again part of the bigger picture of this is a world we need to wake up from. You know, it's like there's something wrong that we need to get over there, and it's like, and from a macro to a micro kind of level, you have that. Like, that's not to say focus, don't do any self-development work at all. You're grand.
No, the opposite. Do loads of it. But
be aware that it's not. It's like this thing. I was reading an awful lot of Jung this week since I've read Bernardo Ketchup's book, and just kind of, because I really enjoyed that book, but I wanted to know, is that Bernardo's ideas or is it actually Jung? So I want to go, you know, so I'm reading the books that are actually, and so far it seems it's Jung's for the most part, but he's like makes the point of in the thing of that you have to be a bit more open about it all, this kind of stuff, and not kind of put yourself into the you know, he's talked about the therapist themselves, which he calls a doctor, whatever. Says he can't come in too forceful into these things because, you know, you don't know. I suppose you what am I trying to say? He has to be open enough to not kind of assert his authority on these things, and, you know, to be able to kind of let the person unfold naturally, and that, you know, that this kind of constant kind of looking for something that's there can mean that you spend an awful lot of the therapy searching for an event that didn't actually happen.
Yeah,
So that's an unsolvable riddle. In that you're kind of go, why am I like this? Why is there I feel broken? What is the bit that broke me? And it says, well, it mightn't be. It might be something else. And you have to kind of let go of it in a way. But like sometimes, but the problem is sometimes there is an event. There is something that you kind of either remember, or more the case I found it's that you realise I've been discounting that memory. Like that memory I have that came back to me in the meditation about a traumatic event when I was quite young, where there was a fire lit in the kind of the way housing estates in Ireland always had that building site beside them because they were never finished. So there was so there was this kind of a part of the estate where I grew up in that had like a cement mixer and bits and pieces, but it was kind of mucky around. But someone had lit a fire and I was over lighting I was over watching it. 10 or something, 11. I don't know what age. I thought it was great. But then people started throwing stones, and someone threw a stone, a big rock, and it hit me in the back of the head, and I was kind of startled. But at the same time, there was a guy in one of the houses going nuts, shouting out his window, and he started running over and giving out about the fire. But everyone else scattered. But because I was kind of hit by this thing, I didn't know what really was going on. So he kind of ended up blaming me for it. And so he started shouting and screaming at me to pull the stones out of the fire, to put the fire out with my bare hands. My hands got all burnt. And like, there's loads more to that feeds into it. But it was just kind of, it's not that I didn't know that memory, but I've never talked about that in therapy. Vanessa never knew about it. It's just not something that it seemed relevant to, if someone like at the beginning of therapy says, well, what kind of, trauma events have you seen? And I've talked about like a car accident I've seen and stuff. And like, but that, and I was kind of, well, it doesn't really affect me. It was just, someone dead on the ground, it was kind of, I think that's an answer you're looking for, of things. But not really talking about the actual thing. And I remember in the meditation, I just kind of came back and I was going, seeing the kind of, I suppose, relevance of it rather than just kind of, and I think that's, for me anyway, I don't know, like, when you say you bury something or in your subconscious, it's like, I think that it's there, you're just not looking at it. I don't, I've never really had a thing where I suddenly remembered, of my childhood and my uncle touched me, and I didn't know that happened until, 2 minutes ago or something. That's never happened to me, but, I'm sure it might happen to people if it's so traumatizing. My uncle's dead on anyway, so they're like, in no way touched me.
He'd buy me flowers first.
Yeah, bring it to the cinema.
No, I think you're right. I think, no, I think we do bury stuff down, and we don't see it with kind of objective eyes.
Yeah, or how it's
think like,
how it's traumatized. Tough word. How it's affecting you in some way. Yeah,
and it's just like when you start school or something, or bigger school. So like you're whatever 6 or 7, and you go to school, and you see that like, their parents don't act like my parents.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh shit, my parents are fucked up.
Yeah. It's realising what you think is normal isn't normal. It can be quite
isn't normal.
Discombobulating. Yeah.
You're like, wait, what? That's oh no.
Oh no, yeah. But it's so the young he just makes a thing of making sure that you're not searching for something that isn't actually there, that it could be something else. But he's just to kind of go off on a different tangent, he talks about at the end of the Undiscovered Self, that he essentially makes the argument for 10 to the part of the garden that you can reach, where he's saying that he says, the whole, but subject to what we are subjected to in the West. And he's definitely coming from a post-war Cold War where there's the definite threat of nuclear annihilation, and that's his big worry. That are we gonna kill ourselves here? That's his. Which is fair enough. It's written in 1958. It gets much worse before it gets much better. But he's kind of saying that the only thing we really can do is understand that through all of these things, and he's talking about archetypical. And for him, archetypes are kind of a bit like the morphic resonance idea of Sheldrake. They're patterns, blueprints. They're not. We can't see them. We can only infer them from their images as they appear into us. But they're more like habits, let's say, in the way Sheldrake would talk about. He says, but you have to remember that works through politics and ideologies as well. They appear through that. It's not, we just kind of tend to come through people, but you know that. So at the minute we're going through a very archetypical pattern in society, and you know it's kind of emerging through that way. And the people that are in that system aren't realizing that's what's happening, but it is, which kind of negates the whole idea of a grand conspiracy, because if everyone has been influenced by these kind of archetypical patterns, and no one again isn't fully control. I suppose you can have negative archetypes maybe, or you know, some sort of dysfunctional archetype thing though. But he's talking about that the key in it, in a sense, is that we forget that as an individuals we have some sort of power, you know, that because it's all been taken away from us, and you know, the state has become the new god and the new religion and all of this type of thing. And he kind of says that the thing that you have to work on then is to be the best influence you can be within the thing that you can influence, which is the exact thing of tending to the part of the garden you can reach. And I thought that was very hopeful. It's literally the kind of the last paragraph or two of the book. But he does say, I'm not coming from, you know, an optimistic or essentially an idealistic point of view. You know, I am worried about the future, but I you know, who knows? Because he mentioned as well that we don't know what we're capable of. You know, and it's that even if we could have to see the true kind of ethos of what the Christian message is trying to suggest us, that even God is looking for the thing that we are. So, you know, the whole kind of hope out of it, which I thought that was interesting. It's very nice. Yeah,
it's good.
While having a couple of chapters of the West, not great for us. I mean, we know it's not great for us in many ways, you know. But it's like, but he's definitely talking in terms in regard to you know, the end of humanity that Oberboyo and stuff talks about. Well, his date's gone, you know, the conjunction, whatever. He does talk about in terms of this is going to take centuries. You know, things happen slow, and when you change ideologies very quickly, they seem to have an adverse reaction, and they don't stick or they cause havoc. You know, it's just kind of slow, gradual, that if people can individually kind of tend to the part of the garden that they can reach, where they can influence the people around them in a more positive, enlightened way, then that's kind of the way forward. So, to answer the question of does Carl Jung think we're all fucked? I don't think he does. At least he didn't 3 years before he died. So
no, and like I shared it with you, and I think I shared it on one of the Discords. Maybe your Discord, maybe the Magio one. I don't know about that the hypothesis that we're entering the second axial age. Which is incredibly hopeful.
Yeah.
But also, like, okay, it's hopeful in a way that, like, right, like, we could it's kind of like we could, should we choose, be entering a time of just immense knowledge sharing and giving and creating new systems that make everything awesome. But
yeah, will we? Yeah.
But it's like, we kind of need to get our shit together to do it.
Well, that's it. Like, and that's the whole kind of thing behind John Higgs's book, the Optimist one, is like there is answers to this. Of course, there's answers to this. Just do we want them? You know, do we want to do the thing that needs to be done? And I don't know. Do we?
Come here. But like, there's one big choice that's looming. That is, well, unless people get their fingers out their arses and get the hydrogen fuel working properly, air travel could be gone fairly soon.
Right.
In the way that we know it.
Right.
You know, in the way that we can buy, you know, ticket for 80 quid and go anywhere in Europe kind of thing. It's probably going to go back to
boats.
The way it was in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. Just very, very expensive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, no, personally, I've thought about it. I'm like, it sucks. I'm never going to get to go to Australia and see my mates, or go to Peru and do Machu Picchu, and that is Peru, isn't it? I always mix them up. I think it's Machu Picchu, yeah. Mm. And you know, it sucks, but like, you know, I'd rather the world lived on a bit longer.
I'd rather there was a world for my kids.
I can make the sacrifice that I'm never going to go to somewhere I'm nowhere close to. You know, small things like that. But like, as well as like with this tending the part of the garden, like, okay, so you have a responsibility to be the best person you can for yourself first and foremost, for your family, for your friends. But then like, you know, you have to stretch that out a bit as well. You know, you should try and be nice in work, man. You know, try and me and you with the podcast, like, just try and, like, I was dreading that me and you were going to go all ranty and ravey today about that, the documentary yesterday.
Oh, we might.
Well, we might, but at the same, but, like, if we're tending to the garden, then at least we're spreading kind of a bit of knowledge on it, rather than just being, because it's the thing I hate about modern media and I suppose journalism as a whole, politics as well, is that, like, look, it's very easy to wear a suit and do some elocution lessons and get trained by a I haven't obviously done any elocution lessons in an awful long time.
Trained by a
but I'm talking like a politician who's searching for time, you can do all that stuff, get trained by PR people and be a politician and just stand up on a podium and just say, there's a problem, there is a problem, there is a problem. And the journalist will say, well, what's the solution?
I'm just here to tell you about the problem.
Look, the problem is this and this. Yeah, but what about? No, you're not listening. You need to focus on the problem because we need to have a conversation about the problem. And by having a conversation, and you're just like, shut the fuck. You're achieving nothing. Do you know? So, yeah, like, yeah, I want to tend more to the garden, Tommie, and try and fucking help.
Yeah, but I mean, it also, like, tend to the part of the garden you reach doesn't just mean your family and the people around you. It means that your influence circle. Like, it means, like, if you have a podcast and that's part of the garden, it's like it's not just look after yourself and your family. It's whatever you have the ability to impact, you should impact that in the most positive and effective way that you possibly can. That's my reading of it. Anyway, that's what I see.
I suppose it doesn't. Be careful with your words. It doesn't always have to be positive. It just has to be true, maybe as truthful as possible.
Well, no, what I mean by positive, you can tell someone. I could say to you, something that you don't want to hear, but it's overall positive, like that I'm trying to help you. That's what I mean. Rather than just kind of go, everything's grand, everything, not forced positivity.
No, but it's that thing, like that's the big problem with the new agey stuff, is that, like, positive vibes, man. And it's like, no, that's not good enough. Positive vibes aren't saving the fish in the oceans. They're not, like.
No. Well, I suppose that correct action, skillful action, right action. That's what I mean, rather than positive.
I know that's what I mean.
Pull the weeds. Pull the weeds out of your garden. Pull weeds. Don't just kind of go, if they're happy, they'll go away by themselves, because they don't. Yeah,
unless they're dandelions, then you can make dandelion tea, which is lovely. Tastes like sunflowers. Lovely.
Oh, nice.
Very nice. Yeah, there's dandelions going to be popping up soon.
And nettle tea as well. You can make that.
Nettle tea, yeah. Nettle tea is good for something. Is it mercury? It's very good for your blood, I think.
It's an arthritis, I think. Inflammation, isn't it?
Is that it? Okay, maybe I have it wrong.
Definitely I don't know. I read something on a website 2 years ago that may have changed in my brain over the course of I know it's for something completely different. Spud.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about Harper's book, but we'll save it till next time then. We've gone on long enough. Let's do this film.
Persona, the dark side of personality tests. There was a kind of interesting sync about this, in that you had sent me a personality test a couple of days before this. A different thing, whatever. And also Morgan sent me a message yesterday going, I have a documentary for you, but it's not a recommendation because I don't like it. So he was it kind of popped up in a few different things.
But did Morgan not like it in the same way we didn't like it, or does he think it's bullshit?
Well, he thinks personality tests are pseudoscience.
He's right.
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, that the focus should have been on that rather than it's kind of how it's used, or not necessarily focus that it didn't cover that. That was kind of his feeling of it. Yeah. I enjoyed this documentary, but enjoyed is absolutely the wrong word. Absolutely. I felt somewhat devastated by this documentary, and
heartbroken. So I was heartbroken and angry.
Heartbroken.
I wanted to watch the world burn after watching this.
Yeah.
It made me so fucking angry. So it did.
Yeah. The basic premise, I suppose, of this is that personality tests, two in particular, the Myers-Briggs and the Big Five, which is massively touted, the Big Five, by Peterson, and he even has his own version of the test that you can do, and that so that I've come across that one before, and it comes up an awful lot in a very scientific way, that this is a scientific method. This is totally legit or whatever. The Myers-Briggs thing, when you look into it, is a bit less legit than you would suspect. And the very first thing is, it says it's not two men, it's a mother and her daughter. And that childhood seemed to be must have been very odd, where your mother's raising you, but just essentially just taking notes on everything you do. And, completely just... but to say that, isn't it, that when you have parents or therapists, but she wasn't a therapist. She was a lay person. Like, she was no
just
qualifications.
Like Carl Jung, that's all.
Yeah.
she
I wonder, I haven't read his psychological types books, but I wonder how much different it is from the the 16 different types. And I don't know. I'll have to read it and find out.
I wonder. Yeah.
Like, would Carl Jung be horrified by this? I suspect he would.
Man, I think Mrs. Briggs would be Myers is her name. Myers, wasn't it? The other one was Briggs. She got married. Mm-hmm. I think old Mrs. Myers would be fucking horrified by what's after happening. To be honest.
Yeah. So it's kind of the trust of the. It's based on a book by. Or at least is inspired by the book by Merv Emery, who's one of the talking heads in it, and it's called The Personality Brokers: The Strange History of Myers-Briggs and the Birth of Personality Testing. And it, her objection was that she was typed and given a job that she ultimately hated, and that she then felt that she wanted to look into it further. But the kind of trust of it is, the documentary is that they're legit. These things can understand people. They're just used in a kind of an evil way by corporations and by racist people and by misogynists and all this kind of thing. But that, from the documentary point of view, they're fairly legit. That was my read of that, the kind of a thing. And there's one person in particular talks about it and says these things are fine in a kind of personal development level of things, but when you start getting into and above that, then you're getting into a whole host of dangers, as we see.
It's a slippery slope to eugenics, like.
Oh man, it's so close. It's very close, like. Which is the fear, like that's the overriding kind of that kind of, what is that film where they're all genetically modified and they're all given things at birth or whatever. Oh, it's not from that long ago, probably 20 years ago now, but it's that, and you're genetically, the more money you have, the better genetically altered you can be. Brave New World is a bit like that, actually, but whatever it's called. But it has a personal story in it, which is Kevin, is right? Is that if I remember? Kyle, yeah. I mean, there's a number of personal stories, but his is quite. His is devastating. I was crying at the end of that. Absolutely.
God,
like, there's no, yeah. Do you want to
I don't
cry,
take
Tommie.
that? Jesus, yeah. I've been to all types of funerals. I don't cry. I fucking cried at the end of this, man.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, it's heartbreaking. The poor devil, Kyle, poor Kyle. Kyle's the son of a lawyer. One's the son of a lawyer. So he did that classic son of a lawyer thing, whereas like instead of looking for a job, he asked his friends, "Can he get a job?" And his friends set him up with this interview for a pharmaceutical company. Okay, fine. Everyone's going to hire him. Everything goes well. You just need to do one more thing. Do this personality test. He's like, okay. So he does the personality test, and because Kyle is naive, he does everything honestly, and then a month goes by. Where's my fucking job? Like, and 2 months goes by. There's his friend. What's the story about my job? He's like, no, you didn't. Sorry, no, you were red flagged. He's like, what do you mean red flagged? And then, in fairness, then to Kyle and his dad, they start looking up these. So what happens is, let's say you apply for a job in. Wasn't it? A lot of them was like Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's. Scumbag, scumbag fucking corporations. So they don't do the proper hiring. Well, they hire people obviously, but they outsource the weeding out of people basically. So you apply for a job, and then you're sent to a third party website, and you do these personality tests, or one personality test, and then McDonald's, and then from that data, then people are weeded out of it, kind of thing. Yeah. So number one, this is illegal. You can't do this in any country in the world.
Right. Well, it's illegal to not hire someone based on a perceived disability.
Yeah.
And this is a way of finding out about that.
That's what I was getting to. What I was getting to. Yeah. So you can. No.
Okay.
You can interview someone and then decide at the interview he's not for us.
Yeah.
But you can't pre-screen. You can't do it. You can't pre-screen based on tests.
Right.
You know?
Okay. Right. Yeah.
You're just not allowed to do this. So he finds that him and his attorney dad find out that this is happening, and they're like, right, we got to do something here.
But isn't a CV by itself a pre-screening though? Like maybe I'm.
Yeah, but a CV isn't going to show that you have, long-term bipolar.
Right, so it's you can't pre-screen for a disability. That's
okay, sorry. Yeah.
No, is
right,
that right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't pre-screen for stuff like that, Yeah. So yeah, the poor fella, this just happens all his life. He just can't get a job.
And he's autistic, is he? Is that or he has some sort of
no.
What is it?
There's an Asian American girl who's autistic.
Right,
sorry,
right.
He's bipolar.
Bipolar, right? Yeah.
He's bipolar, and and the reason he got red flagged was because by doing this Meigs-Breuer test, it showed up that he wouldn't be good at customer service because he would ignore the customer, and he wouldn't be able to empathize with him or something like that. That's the way he put it. But he says then, look, I've done these jobs before, and then it shows him working in like a donut stall in a shopping centre. So like obviously he has done it before, and he says like I've learned from working that you need to take your emotions out of it and then deal with the person, which is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, instead of me, I worked in
most people can't do that.
And like my emotions were totally in it, and I'd just be fucking round with anyone who crossed my fucking path, looked at me the wrong way.
Yeah, but you see, you wouldn't get the job now because you'd be tested. You'd be out.
Tested. Yeah. I mean. Look, the flip side of this is that it's to stop people getting jobs they're going to be unhappy in,
Yeah.
Which is okay. That's nice.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That's a worthy thing to try and do.
But can we still have something where people can get jobs? Because people need to fucking work.
But the kind of thing that it's like to stop having a job that you want. But who wants to work in McDonald's?
Exactly.
Who wants to
do you know what I mean?
Work in any of these places?
Whose dream job is, a Cinnabon? Is that what's in Cinnabon, isn't it?
That's the Louis C.K. one as well.
Isn't that mad that Cinnabon have paid the Better Call Saul producers for this ad in all of their seasons?
Right.
Whereas that, it's shown in the worst possible light.
All right, I've never seen Better Call Saul.
Jimmy is on the run. He's on the run from all the drug dealers, and he has to have this pretend job in making fucking Danish pastries for fat Americans. It's like what that's the ad you paid for. Okay, that's intelligent. I hope someone got. No, actually, I hope someone didn't get fired for that. It's a really. There's something else we didn't mention as well. The podcast starts out, or the podcast, the video film,
documentary,
the moving pictures.
Yeah, the talkies.
Starts off really. The talkies start off really badly. It's like an assault on your senses. And I was watching, just going, this is what it must be like to have ADHD, because this is it calms down as
whoever did the sound
on.
Design on it needs to be shot. That absolutely.
And it's just scene.
No, well that's cruel. No, they need to learn not to make sound like that. That's better than shot.
It's like the scenes, they change so quickly, and there's mad graphics coming up. There's music changing all the time, and there's memes and animations, and then another scene, and there's another talking head, and it just goes on for a good 10 minutes or something.
Yeah,
or
good 10 minutes, yeah.
Minutes. And it's a fucking assault on your senses, and I don't know why the fuck they did it that way. I really wish they hadn't, because I started watching this.
It's purposely done like that to.
Yeah, it could be purposely done like that, but like if I didn't have to. I didn't have to watch it. But if we weren't watching it for this, I would have.
Yeah, if it was on Netflix and you were just looking for something to watch, you wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah, no, you'd go looking for something else. But stick with it. Do stick with it. It's really good. It's really fucking good. But you're going to be really angry after it. So don't watch it with your missus. Wait till she's gone to bed or something, or don't watch it and then have your kids or something. don't be like one of those divorced dads who watches these in the morning and then has his kids in the afternoon, because like you're just going to hate your kids, or else you're just going to be depressed about how their futures are already fucking lined up, and all they have to do is knock over the dynamo, and like just everything is just it's awful. It's so bad to think that this is the world and how it has become. We're all just put in our pigeonholes. And that's it. You are that. That is what you are.
You are forever and ever and ever.
You are this. Yeah. This is what you are. This is your personality. You've had no choice. Your experiences count for fucking nothing. Go work for Microsoft. No, that's a good job. Go work for fucking KPMG, you fucking lemming. What the fuck? Have we allowed this to happen? We have allowed this to happen. It makes me sick, man. So fucked up. Oh.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, not to spoil it because it's like really spoiled, but it goes bad for Kyle. He can't get a job, he can't get out, and he gets more disillusioned, the whole thing, and he kills himself, and it's horrifying. And his dad's left. His dad,
poor guy. He was lovely. Such a nice man.
And like it's like obviously happens in the middle of filming the documentary because there's proper shots of interviews. It's not like kind of phone camera level. The way we go back in time and show the kind of family videos of it. It's like he was properly interviewed for this documentary, and and it's like, so it's within the scope of whatever length it takes, the year and a half it takes to make a documentary. And his dad just kind of continues on, and there's a bit at the end where they're at this kind of march against suicide, and of the white, kind of.
I'm going to start crying again.
The white, if anyone's been touched by this, hold up your hand. It's just like, man. And I mean, I understand that it's done purposely to, tugging your heartstrings and all that, but it happened. It's a thing that happened. It's not that it wasn't made for the documentary. It wasn't set up or whatever. And they're kind of in Congress, and one side saying, "Oh well, we should look at this," and then immediately it's just kind of whatever, the people should be allowed. And then there's a guy brought on who created one of these tests, and he's definitely he's immediately the music turns sinister. So you don't like him immediately. You're flagged into what you're meant to think about.
This is the big five guy, is it? What's his name? Sourdough? Or he's some weird man.
Oh, no, everything. And he's just kind of going, well, like these are all created, because there's been whole talks of racism in how the tests are done, and there was one of the people who did the Myers-Briggs MBTI or whatever is the proper name for that test, also wrote an extremely racist novel. And so, there's just kind of thought that it's kind of was deliberately targeted to make Asians, black people, so you could
screen them out.
Screen them. That's what, screen them. And men and women get a different test, but based because women are more feely creatures than men. Body years and that. And to do with the men and women thing, that you could tell that this is a woman from the test, but I mean, you probably could tell by asking the question, "Are you male or female?" at the beginning. So that seemed a bit weird to me in that like.
So wait. So it's got to the level now where we have to ask people 50 questions to find out if they're male or female. Now, in fairness, I mean, sometimes I've seen photos where I don't know the difference. But it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't matter. It's like But I don't know. Like, I mean, here's the thing about the test. I did the test years ago, and I'm an INFJ, which is the rarest of all types, and obviously the best, which is not true. But there is the sense that when I found that the things who I've been told all my life are kind of weaknesses, or things I need to work on, or things I need to overcome, or that, to find out that no, that's just who I am. That's the type that there was a huge relief and empowerment in that. So I can understand, as the Asian person was saying, that from a self-development point of view, these are really helpful. But if I was then told I can't have a job because I'm not suited due to answering 50 questions that are sometimes very weird, and to know what they're actually asking you, I find that, and I also find the whole notion of some of the other tests, the typology type things, where people are by your You know, it's like an NLP thing as well. Your behaviours, how you use your hands, how you use your eyes, all of this kind of stuff is again putting you into a box of this is the type of person you are and this is the type of thing to expect. And we love putting things in boxes. We love putting names on things. We love kind of categorising, pigeonholing people as if to discount it. It's a way of discounting things. You know, we don't have to worry about it anymore. And it's a huge, huge dehumanising thing that we do to each other. Yeah. I think, and it makes me feel super icky that that you can judge a person in that way, because as Jordan Peterson says all the time, it's a bit more complicated than that. You know, it's a bit more to it than that.
No, but okay, Tommie. Yeah. Even if it isn't a bit more complicated.
Yeah, even if it isn't. Yeah.
Choose my words wisely. Not to annoy people.
Well, I got the Spud.
Yeah. No, look, for me, this comes down to trying to wrestle a bit of control out of the chaos.
Yeah.
And so, say you're at a party and you say something, and then, Karen with her crystals is like, "Oh, you're a Virgo, aren't you?" Yeah. Yeah. For me, I've always seen that as, shut the fuck up, woman.
Yeah.
You're putting your control over me. All right?
Yeah.
Don't do that. That is not cool. I don't appreciate that. And then she says, oh, "You're such a Virgo."
I know. Yeah. I absolutely know what you mean. And
but it's the same. It's the same now with the GRIMOIRE thing, with the Big Five, with this other, any of those things. I'm just like, no, stay out of my shit, man.
Yeah.
Who are you to put labels on me? You know, I if I want to do that, I do it myself.
Yeah, that's it. Self thing.
And I have to want to do it.
Yeah. But I think you're right that it's essentially a slightly pseudo-scientific astrology. Like, it's exactly not in the how it's worked out, but the same categorizing principle and putting people like that. You're a typical Leo or whatever. I think it's fine. Be a Leo. I am a Leo, and
but
I have to.
Do you know what? It comes back to the your man's documentary last week, the McGilchrist one.
Yeah.
And this is exactly one of the symptoms he was talking about was going to happen. And it's funny that it didn't come up in his documentary at all. And it's that when we over logicify something, we end up fucking restraining it, killing it.
Yeah.
This is what's happening with these things, man. Do you know? That's exactly. I was just watching this going like bing, 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 bing. This is exactly what he was saying in last week's documentary. When you put too many rules in, it's like, what did you say last week? Was the thing you said from it when you have to put rules on? What was it? You have to police free speech kind of thing.
You have to make laws around freedom.
And this is like when you have so many things that are sitting into these little boxes of data, then you just stick these rules on it and say that's you make it have to fit into that, and that'll do that, and that'll do that, and that'll do that, and that'll do that. And it's like, I think the world has got to where it was in a fairly good way. Most people are pretty decent, but when we start doing this kind of stuff, then you're just casting off lots of people who surely have plenty to contribute to the world and making the world a better place as well.
And not even that. Like, we know from evolution that diversity is key, and like by constantly putting the same element into the same type of job, the same thing, it has to have an effect. If it's even true that you can do that, on creativity, on new ideas, on new understandings. Like, you need the chaos within it for expansion, for new type of things. So it's not. I don't even think from a purely business point of view, if you want to look at it that way, it's even a good idea. Apart from the whole kind of evil. But here's the thing: if next week we find out how to change people genetically from babies into being the more desirable types, we're fucked because we'll do it, and that's then what do you end up into? Like,
would we do?
Gattaca was the name of the film, by the way, that I couldn't remember.
Oh, okay. I don't know if we would do that. I think if it came down to the designer baby stuff is fucking weird anyway for a start. But like if it's a thing, okay, look, we can genetically modify your baby so it's never going to have cancer. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm taking that. Do you know?
But if we can turn an INFJ into, I don't know what the good one is, whatever. But the reason why I say this is because we've evidence of people doing this already in China with the one baby thing you have. So you bought all the females, or you have the horror stories of orphanages full of females. So that is something that people have a thing to do, and it's out of like going, I can't, I want my child to have the best thing going forward in life and all that kind of stuff. But I find it icky and scary, and the whole kind of designer baby thing, I can see it happening, and I don't think it's going to be. It'll start maybe with let's get rid of cancer, let's get rid of bad eyesight. But what's going to happen then? Like, you're just going to have what? Every kid's going to be a fucking, what are they called in America? Ivy Leaguers. Well, no, but only the rich people will be able to do this. So then you're going to massively widen the class.
I see. Okay, well, I mean, it's the age-old answer then. Let's fucking kill the rich.
I don't know. Let's maybe tax them first. Let's see how that goes. just try that for a while and see how that goes. But it's like, well, the whole thing, where it is like, the great saying I heard is that, so when people say things like this, so what you want to do is abolish the first class on, say, on like a train. It goes, no, I want everyone in the first class. It's to abolish the second and the third class.
Like Lennon and the champagne. Yeah, I want everyone to drive a Rolls Royce and drink champagne. So do I, Mr. Lennon. But you killed a lot of people, so you're not a hero.
He also had 16 Rolls Royces and a lot of champagne, so when people had no food.
No, like I see this with my young lad, because he's very similar to me. A little bit different, but quite similar. And I know, like, I had a hard time in school because I just question authority. I can't have authority. I just can't. I am my own authority, and that's it.
It's really, Spud. I haven't noticed that about you. It's not something I would recognise in you.
No. Like I'm so bad that, like, when someone says to me, "Oh, you should watch this. I think you'll like it," I probably won't like it just because they've put that on me.
I understand that. Yeah, I do.
You were like that too, though.
Yeah.
Because I'm
you don't know me.
That,
you don't know me.
But that's it. That you're taking the words out of my mouth, man. Because I'm petrified that people might know me better than I know myself.
Yeah.
And I think we all should kind of be scared of that just a little bit because we don't really know ourselves.
Yeah, because it's probably true in some ways.
We don't know ourselves. We play all these different roles in the different lives that we have. We're different with our wives than we are with our mothers, I hope.
Yeah.
We're different with our kids than we are with our cousins. We're different in our
but then what happens then is we externalize truth or what's real, or in that I am only a generous person if other people say I am. Yeah. And that's not fun. And that's something I definitely do. I acquiesce to authority, even if I don't believe them, in that their truth becomes more real in the world, because authority in many ways does equal truth. And I mean authority in the sense of say social standing or control. It can happen through merit, or it can happen through anger. It's like that kind of thing of when you're a kid and your parents say something, it's not true, they know it's not true, but because they say it, it's the truth in the family, this is what's going to happen. And you can kind of see that happening then on a wider scale with the government and that, or whatever, that there's, a kind of authority is truth. But that's just, you're saying that the notion of someone else knowing you better than you are, with the caveat that you should always be the arbiter of truth about yourself. Ultimately, take on board what other people say, have a look at the personality test, see if you learn anything from it, but don't allow someone else to tell you who you are. I think it's important. Like, I mean, there's obviously bits of things where you have to take feedback and you have to take criticism and all of that. I'm not talking about that. It's like that. I don't know how to explain it better than be the only. It's a thing I can't do, and I'm working on it. It's a huge kind of thing with me at the minute, is trying to believe myself and not believe myself. I do believe myself. Allow myself, my truth, to be as valid as someone else's truth. And it's, I don't know, there was a trigger with this documentary around that, because I felt like this is another way someone else can tell me my, what I am, and I have to believe it, because science, man,
Yeah, but it's not.
Not even science.
It's not science, it's based on
book.
truths and it's just look. The same as you. When I did it years ago, but I also did it like 2 years ago, and on that nice website with the graphics, and you look like a hero. The
Mine came up as
cartoons.
as Wizard, and I mean, come on, it's like what more did I want?
Yeah. And like, okay, obviously, I do fit into that category, and that's what I am. But like, problem with them is that they spin your bad aspects, you know, and they try and spin them into good things. Oh, you're independent. No, I'm a loner.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's the way I'd see it. Well, I'm not a loner. It's just, how'd to say it? I'm not good with working in offices. I'm not, okay?
Yeah.
I'm very good at working on my own, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, that's independent, but it's also a lone wolf. You know, lone wolf sounds cooler.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're an American white
But could be deemed antisocial.
shooter.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But in one of those tests, it could be seen as antisocial. You're independent. You see yourself not as
And so
part of
therefore
it.
you wouldn't get a class job as a journalist in a newsroom because of that, even though you could be really good journalist.
Well, maybe, yeah. I mean, look, I don't know. Like, I mean, you were saying like, or you were asking yesterday. I wonder how bad it is in Ireland with these tests, and I just didn't put two and two together. And I think about half an hour later, I wrote to you. I was like, "Yeah, I've applied for jobs where I've had to do these things and heard nothing back." But I always put it down to like, "Oh, my CV wasn't good enough." I never put two and two together that it was because I did shit on their fucking questionnaire thing. Because I always thought the last proper job I had in an office, we were asked to do one of these one time, and I. Your man beside me, we were doing it together, and he just picked the first option on all of them.
Right.
And I picked the third one, which is neither disagree nor disagree, or I'm neutral.
Yeah.
All of them. Do you know? And we didn't last too much longer in that job.
I can imagine.
Which is hilarious. A bunch of, I won't say that word. And like, it's, I don't know. Look, yeah, use these things if you're not. I think that Isabel Myers, I think she did have her heart in the right place, setting out to do them. I don't. Even though the journalist in this says that she was a racist, I don't think she was a racist, because the book with the racist is actually about the detective trying to figure out why they're killing each other and why they're killing themselves. This is the plot of the book, and they're killing themselves because of something racist. That's 100% sure. But the book's from the perspective of the detective. It's not from the perspective of the family.
Well, no, again, it's like a book you'd have to read to know if it's racist or not.
Yeah.
Because
so, and as well, like, you know, there's audio of her saying that like this isn't what she wants. Like, she wants it to be like a Joseph Campbell thing of to help people find the thing that they will get the most happiest and happiness out of. Folly or bliss, Joe Campbell thing. I mean, that can only be commendable, and fair play to her for trying to do that. But the problem is that, you know, rich white men have gotten a hold of this, and now they're using her methodologies to, like, even your man comes on from her company is like, yeah, no, these shouldn't be used for hiring people. Like, they just shouldn't. Like that's so okay. So what can we do then? What can me and you do, Tommie? Or anyone that's listening to this is like I'm honestly asking the question here.
Yeah.
Fucking get in touch with us on Discord or whatever. Do you know? You can even write me a letter. Spud, the Irish guy, Poland. You can probably find me. Do you know? You can put Cheshin if you know how to spell it. Do you know? How the fuck do you spell Cheshin in like an English way? CH. Isn't a letter. Anyway, no, but like, but really, like, can you protest against the companies who are doing this? Because, like, okay, let's protest against McDonald's. I'm never going to work for you. I was never going to fucking work for them cunts anyway. I'm never going to work for those those people anyway. Sorry, you slipped out, man. I was never going to work. I was never going to work for them horrible people anyway. You know, and like, I don't know, like. because I was watching it and I just felt so bloody powerless. And just like, this is disgusting. This is going to happen to our kids. This is happening to people now who are applying for these, low level job. Like, I presume if you wanted to say, do you know when you come out of college and you have to take a crappy job, like, I don't know, rent a car or something in an airport? I guarantee you have to pass one of these to get a crappy job like that. Whereas like in my day, I'm so old, but like, it's not that long ago where I could just walk into a pub with a CV, and if the manager was there, I could get a job, and I could be working that evening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how? Like, has this happened? This has just happened while we've been asleep at the wheel, kind of thing. But like, is it on us to change it? I don't know if it is on us. I want to change it.
Yeah.
Is there anything I can do that helps to change it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know,
Help.
I don't know. Yeah,
listeners.
Help. Yeah, I think as a documentary, it's quite good. It doesn't go far enough. It's slanted towards it needs more dissenting voices about the actual tests themselves rather than the use of the tests. I think there could be definitely more in it. But yeah, I definitely think you should watch it. It's quite annoying, quite
If it doesn't make you angry, doesn't make you angry, then you're not human. Something wrong with you if this doesn't piss you off.
And if people want to know more about typology, because there's loads of other things, there's a channel in Discord which is very active, and there's more than just these two tests, the Myers-Briggs and the Big Five. There's another one called CT, which I don't really know much about. I don't understand it. I'm not going to pretend I do. Bira tries to explain it to me, and I can't get it. I don't like it, but like, she'll punch in the right direction if you want to get into it. Like, I do think there's validity in these things to a level. That's the most I can go, and I did find it very helpful to recognise myself in a test previously. So I do feel there's a utility in it, and it helped me. That's
what these were made for. They were made to help people, personality wise. They weren't made for jobs, but now.
I also don't like the idea that you can't change. That's something I just don't like, because that if this is the test, if that's who you are forever. Like the Big Five on Peterson, definitely I've heard him saying this. Do it once because you're not. That's who you are. And I'm going. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Maybe true. I don't like it. Which doesn't mean anything. Personal opinion about it. But I don't know. I like. Come back to the Cronzon stuff the last couple of days. This part, like, I've really, over the last while, I'm getting a bit overwhelmed by everything, and this certainly deflated me a little bit more than I probably needed. And I can even tell, and the two of us are hunched over here talking about it. Like, it's like our body, or like if someone was trying to type us from our body language right now, it would be they're very lethargic people. No happiness in them. I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a good watch, tough watch, but it's. Actually, look, I think I've said enough on it.
Yeah.
By now, I think. I don't think I got too ranty and ravey. I said a bad word, and I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. I doubt YouTube are going to go through it. If they do, good luck.
There was something. I forgot my notes. Yeah, I was walking around down the street the other day with Aga, right? And she says to me, we got talking about. So say you went down to the shops there. Excuse me, pre-COVID time, so people don't have the masks on. You leave your front door, walk down the street to the shop, and you see this, ride of a man, like a really handsome man.
To non-Irish people, that means good looking. A ride. Is good looking.
Really good looking. Like Thor, that actor. Is he good looking?
I have no idea. Yeah, let's go with that.
I don't know what the standard is.
My kind of one is Brad Pitt and Johnny Depp, but like they're 70-year-old men now, so I have no idea. But that's who was considered.
Whatever the modern Johnny Depp is, fucking good looking man. Right? So Aga told me that when she sees like a really hot girl, what her thought process is that if I was a man, I'd fuck her.
Right.
All right? However. And I want your opinion on this. I'd like to know what the way you think about it.
Nice.
Because when I see a ride of a man, I think, yeah, I wouldn't mind him coming on my chin.
Oh, Jesus. I think we've typed you as gay.
No, I'm messing. No, but like I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd do him, or I'd let him do me. I do it in a gay way, but she does it in like she becomes a man to have sex with the woman.
Right.
Whereas I'm just like, every hole's a goal.
Are you bisexual? Like,
I hope not.
What? You could be having an awful lot of fun.
Yeah, with a wife and 2 kids. Yeah,
I know it doesn't stop an awful lot of people. In fairness, no, I have a thing that I can sometimes I can recognize good looking. I can't recognize sexy. I just can't, because I'd be asking friends, is he good looking or is he sexy? And she goes, no, what's wrong with you? And so I can't. I've the closest I've ever had to a kind of an attraction to a man is to Tom Hardy's voice. It does weird things to me. That's it. That's the best I can do. Yeah, it makes me feel feelings that I don't understand, and that's it. But no, I definitely don't have visions of him coming on my chin or anything like that. So.
I was saying that to Mess, but like, yeah, I just thought everyone did that. There's a good looking man. I'd give him one. Yeah. I thought that everyone did that, and she's like, no. Okay, that's so like you don't, and she doesn't.
Yeah, but that's like the other day when I was doing that test that you sent me, and I've got everyone thinks like that, and you go, I don't think like that. I went, what? No, I definitely don't. It's like I just assumed everyone felt like that. Yeah, so it's so funny. It's so strange. Like we definitely make the world in our own image. Like there's no question of that. Like it's like it's which is, I suppose, the utility of the tests like these.
That'll bring us back to The Secret, though. But like I, over the last couple of months or whatever, I have kind of solidified the idea in my head that the world is a reflection.
Yeah.
What you put into it, you'll get out of it. So. But yeah, I think, I don't know.
What's that old expression of wherever you go, there you are? That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, but in a good way. So like, try and, if you're in a bad mood in a fucking shop and you're queuing up or whatever, just be like, you know what? It's all right. I have loads of food. I'm going to eat tonight. Grand.
Yeah.
Just try and just catch yourself and.
Well, I think that's the benefit, I suppose, of doing a kind of mindfulness meditation, is that you catch yourself doing those things easier, or at least you catch yourself indulging in it, and you're aware I'm kind of enjoying this. And go, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah. Look, it's okay to indulge in it as well. Just be like, I'm going fucking Columbine on this whole fucking shop right now.
Jesus Christ. Spud. You're a fun guy.
Bye.